Hello and welcome to lesson 26 of the A1 course. My name is David. Today we are going to look at transport, different types of transport, and also the use of the verb to do. So let's start, shall we? First of all, let's have a look at some different ways of using transport. Okay, the question, what can you see? What different types of transport can you see? Have a look at the photos and which of the names appear on the right. Let's just listen and practice the pronunciation of the vocabulary. We've got a train, a ferry, a tube, a plane, a car, a taxi, a bus, a coach, a bike, a helicopter, a ship, a boat, a scooter, a tram, a motorbike. Repeat. Okay, now let's have a look at which ones are in the photograph. Okay, the ones in green. A train, a ferry, a tube. The bottom picture is a tube on the London Underground. A taxi, a bike, a helicopter, and a scooter. Okay? Now, what's the difference? Number one, what's the difference between a cab and a taxi? Number two, a bus and a coach. Number three, a bike and a scooter. Number four, a tram and a train. And number five, a ferry and a ship. Let's have a look at the answers. So the difference between a cab and a taxi. So a cab is American and taxi is British. So in London, we say taxi. In New York, they say cab. And here, a bus is public transport and a coach is luxury. It's more comfortable and private. Number three, a scooter has an engine. A bike doesn't have an engine. Trains are much longer and travel further than trams. So trams normally only in the city. And a ferry is for passengers. So in the photograph, you can see a ferry. So now, again, same vocabulary. Which of these do you, number one, use in a town or a city? Which ones? Number two, which ones do you use on water? In the photograph, there's an example. And number three, which one do you use in the air? So, for example, a train on the water? No. In the air? No. So train in a town. A ferry? It's a boat. So in town? No. On water? Yes. The tube? Remember? London Underground? It's a train under the ground, so it's in town. Okay, can you do the others? And in a minute, let's have a look at the answers. So in a town, you've got train, tube, motorbike, car, taxi, bike, scooter, tram, and bus. On the water, a ferry, a boat, and a ship. And in the air, a helicopter and a plane. Now, describing a journey. So, what about you? How do you go to school or university or to your job, your work? So, look at the example. I go to school by bus. Very important. By, the preposition. I go to school by bus. I go to university by bike. In Cambridge, everybody goes to university by bike. And I go to work by train. But I go to school on foot. On foot, remember, this is your hand, and at the bottom of your leg is your foot. So I go to school on foot. Right. So look at the picture. Look at the picture and write by or on and the transport. So in the picture, he goes to work by or on? Correct, by train. Number 2, many people travel. Number 3, in winter, he goes. Number 4, in a city, it is easy to travel. And number 5, to travel overseas, you should go. So, by or on and the transport. We said number 1, he goes to work by train. Many people travel by car. In winter, he goes on foot. In a city, it's easy to travel by bike. Good. And to travel overseas, you should go by plane. Good. So here are the answers. So just listen and repeat, please. He goes to work by train. Many people travel by car. Car. In winter, he goes on foot. In a city, it's easy to travel by bike. Again, in a city, it's easy to travel by bike. And number 5, to travel overseas, you should go by plane. Remember, should and shouldn't. Advice. To travel overseas, you should go by plane. What about you? When I go on holiday, I like to travel by bike, by plane, by boat, on foot. In my city, many people go to work. In my city, many people go to work by bike. I usually go to work, I usually go to work on foot. I went in the past. I went to school by car, by bus. And I go to the supermarket by bus. And in my free time, I like to travel by plane. Okay. So now we are going to look at the verb to do. Remember, we have practiced a lot with to do in the present simple. Do you like? Do you live? Do you watch? Remember? And that do is an auxiliary verb. It's a help verb. It's necessary. But do also has another meaning. And do is a verb that means to make. We will have some practice. So remember the verb to do, yeah, positive, negative. Yeah. He, she, it always changes. So I do, you do, he does, she does, it does, we do, they do. And then negative, I don't, you don't, he doesn't. Pronunciation, please remember, he doesn't, she doesn't, it doesn't, we don't, they don't. The question form, do I, do you, does he, does she, does it, do we, do they. Now, let's have a bit of practice. Now, here, this is the verb. It's not an auxiliary, it's the verb. And the verb is to make, like to make. So in the number one, my homework every day. She, they, and the negatives, you, he, we, and the questions. So if it's you, he, they, what's the form of the verb? And the short answers, yes, I, no, I, yes, he. Now, let's look at the answers, and I hope you are correct. I do my homework every day. She does her homework every day, correct? They do their homework every day. Negative. You don't do. We've got do. You don't do. Right? So the first don't is the auxiliary verb. And then we have the main verb, do. He doesn't do his homework. We don't do our homework. And then the question, do you do? Does he do? Do they do? Two do's. Yeah. Do you do your homework? Do you do your homework? I hope so. Does he do? Do they do? And then the answers, yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, he does. And, oops, forgot. No, he, negative, doesn't. Doesn't. So, this time, there's a conversation, and let's put the conversation there, and you need to complete with the verb. So, no, what? On Sundays, I usually, no, just relax. And this one, the second one, remember, it's third person, she. So it's not do. Okay. So here's the answers. Do you like visiting art galleries? No, I don't. What do you like to do? What do you like to do? On Sundays, I usually do nothing. I just relax. Very nice. And here we have, does your sister live with you? No, she doesn't. She's married. Do her and her husband live near? So do her and her husband is they. That's why it's do. Do they? Do her and her husband live near? Yes, they do. Now, this time we have do and an activity. We use in English, right? We have do is the verb with activities. So, for example, we have do the ironing, 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 iron, iron, not iron, iron, iron. Do the ironing, and it's number 5. Picture number 5, ironing. Do you do the ironing? Okay. Do the cleaning. Do the cleaning. Number 1. Do the washing up. Do the washing up. Number 4. Do your homework. It's not there. Yeah, but do your homework. Study. Do the gardening. Yeah, is number 3. Do the gardening. Do the gardening. Do business. Number 2. Do business. Do some exercise. Not there. Exercise. Do some exercise. And the last one, do your best. Always, please, when you study English, do your best. Thank you. Okay. So here are the answers again in green. So test yourself. Do you remember what's number 1? Do the cleaning. Number 2, do business. Number 3, do the gardening. Number 4, do the washing up. Number 5, do the ironing. Iron. Do the ironing. Good. Now, this time you need to complete the sentences. You have to remember the activity and the correct form of do. Is it do, does, doesn't, don't? And is it cleaning, gardening? Okay, the exam is difficult. Don't worry, just if the weather is good, Amy goes outside and with the plants It is important to every day. We have visitors tomorrow. We must every day. Our teacher tells us to Alex, so his shirts are ready for work. And after dinner, okay, let's have a look at the answers. The exam is difficult. Don't worry, just do your best. If the weather is good, Amy goes outside and does the gardening. It's important to do some exercise every day. To do some exercise every day. Do you do exercise every day? I hope so. We have visitors tomorrow. We must do the cleaning. Every day, our teacher tells us to do our homework. Alex, in the picture, does the ironing, so his shirts are ready for work. After dinner, you do the washing up. Make everything clean. And last one, our company does business. Does business. Company, it does. Does business with the US. Very good. So, thank you. That is the end of lesson 26. In lesson 27, we are starting to talk about the past, what happened yesterday, and also about holidays. I hope you like holidays. We will talk about them in lesson number 27. Thank you for watching. Remember, as always, please do the lesson test at the end of this lesson. Thank you and see you in lesson 27. Goodbye.